Series of Business of Cannabis. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com. Coming up on BFC Live, we connect with Leslie Ducommun. She is an assistant vice president at Gallagher Canada, working at the intersection of cannabis and insurance since 2013. We connected with her as part of the Lift & Co. Expo in November in Toronto. This is Leslie Ducommun from Gallagher Canada. Leslie, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jay.
This is not your first Lift Expo. We were talking a little bit before we started filming. How many do you suspect you've been to?
Well, I would do 2 a year, and I've been in the cannabis space since 2013. So if it started 2015, times that by 2 and all the way up.
It's complicated math, minus 1 year and a half.
That's right.
The COVID subtraction in that case. And what strikes you, I guess, thinking about that first show you went to and when you entered the space in 2013, what's the most striking difference since then?
Just the amount of people and the acceptance of people in this space and businesses in this space. It's just been a wonderful to see, commerce and, in my case, insurance, getting comfortable with this space and starting to treat the businesses like true businesses.
Can I go back into your brain to 2013 when you started in this?
Yes.
Because you're in the insurance space.
Yes.
Insurance is notoriously difficult to access for cannabis, certainly back then.
Absolutely.
Were you sitting around a conference table saying, there are some new emerging markets we ought to get in? And is it sort of a ask for forgiveness or beg for permission, whatever that saying is? Were you just we're going to go do this?
Well, I'll tell you my little story about how I got into it. I saw in Colorado that they were the first, state to legalize, and I saw the money that was being made in that space. And I went to my area president at that time, Wendy Sinclair, and I said to her, I put together a business proposal because I thought, you know what, I'm from British Columbia. BC weed has been known my whole life. Anywhere I go internationally, people would be talking about BC weed. So I went to her and I said, how do you feel about us doing, cannabis? Can we insure this? And she said, well, is it legal? And I said, medically it is, so for medical companies we can do that. Mm-hmm. And she goes, well, of course, go ahead, Leslie, go. So a week later, I brought in the ex-premier of British Columbia, who sat on the board of a publicly traded company, and you could figure who else that is, and sat there like all good politicians. They like to talk about themselves, so we sat in my boardroom talking about himself, and I said, I see that you're sitting on this board. Do you have your directors and officers liability in place? The next call was picked up the phone and put me on with the CEO, because they didn't even know that they could get that. So that was one of the very first policies that I placed in this space, and it was like a roller coaster ride ever since. So really exciting stuff.
I want to talk about the roller coaster ride because it's one thing to land the first sort of DMO policy, publicly traded or would-be publicly traded cannabis company. It's yet another when there actually is sort of history and years of experience, and it always hasn't been a smooth road for the industry. Has that made the insurance part of it more challenging?
Absolutely. So, we've seen all these lawsuits, between some of the larger companies. And what happens is, insurance is always involved in that. And it's actually made it more challenging on our side, on the broker side, to find coverage for these companies because, insurance was kind of getting gung-ho and they were starting more players were going to come in. But then the claims start happening and now we've seen it retract. We're really not going to see anything until the federal government in the USA, it federally legalizes, because basically Lloyd's of London, the inventors of insurance, pulled out because it's federally illegal. So there will be change, but the change is slow.
And the industry's developed dramatically in a whole variety of ways, not just because there used to be really only licensed producers that sold to patients. It's a pretty thin part of it now.
Yes.
But now it's of course that there's an agricultural component, there's manufacturing and processing, there's distribution and transportation, and a lot of what obviously people see on the street around this convention center is retail. And there's just so many small mom and pop retailers. And is insurance as difficult to get for them as it was sort of back in 2013, or is it a little bit loosened up?
Well, you know what, the insurance process for those retailers is a lot easier than it was back in 2013 because, well, it didn't exist back then, right? But at the same time, you know, we only have 2 markets that are insuring this. So really, insurance has the upper hand, and one of the biggest things with like a mom and pop shop is the price. You know, they're looking at a huge amount of money, and they're just opening. Like these guys everybody's on a shoestring budget, and they haven't even done their first sale.
They haven't sold anything.
They haven't sold anything, and they're going, how am I going to afford this?
Right.
You know, they don't. You know, it's the understanding that we just don't have that competitiveness yet.
Right.
And you know, that's what we're like as a broker. We're always constantly trying to push that for our clients.
And so many of the retailers are new, and it's all the expenses are up front, including the product they're about to sell.
That's right.
Like every expense is up front, and then you start selling and try to drive down, trying to eat into that.
Well,
and it's very difficult.
And for each province, there is the regulatory body that states they have to have a certain type of insurance in place in order to get their license and to be able to sell. So it's I understand
You're
their
very
pain.
sympathetic.
I am very sympathetic, but it's tough, right? And I've worked with companies right from the startup, till they're like billion-dollar companies.
Right.
So I understand the struggle, but that's what makes me a good partner.
It does, and you're a good partner for us too.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to say is there are few people in the work that you do that understand it as deeply and thoroughly and as for as long as period of time as you do it, and you've been great partners for us and great partners to them, so thank you for stopping by the booth and for your ongoing partnership, because we really enjoy it and we learn from you every time we talk. Yes,
and well, we enjoy our partnership with you as well, Jay, and the Business of Cannabis. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Leslie.
Okay.
That was Leslie Ducommun from Gallagher Canada. If you like this program, please rate and review us wherever you heard the show. It helps support the work we do. We're able to do what we do because of ongoing partnerships with Alterna Savings, Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmarks, Can Delta, Gallagher, Headset, and Torque and Maine. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com.